We're going to move into our third panel, or the last panel of our afternoon, which again goes back to money, sense and sensibility, which is something that we all have to think about. Talking about, again, monetizing, where that comes from, how does it happen? And we're going to have a case study again, and just a few housekeeping notes. I'm reminding you once again to get on that conference app that's you were sent by email, because it has feedback. We're coming to the end of our formal programming of the day, and it's really important to all the conference organizers who spend a lot of time trying to program these conferences to know what you think. So please do them a favor and go into that app and fill out the feedback form. Also, just another note for the Q&A at the end of this panel, if you could please just tell us who you are and if you're comfortable where you come from or what your company is. It helps set context for some of the questions. So those are the two housekeeping notes. And just reporting back from our keynote speaker this morning, Clive Thompson, he texted us and said, in quotes, "I had a blast, awesome and crazy smart crowd." So there you go. We passed the test of our keynote speaker even so. If the panel is ready or getting ready, we're just getting mic'd up now for our last panel. I liked what Chris said, or somebody said on the panel this afternoon, this one about creators driven by passion points. It's very much what we do, and some of the best ideas come from that passion. All right. So our last panel, named Sense and Sensibility, is considering new paths to monetization, from branded content to e-commerce campaigns to crowdsourced funding through Kickstarter. How do content creators decide what financing opportunities to chase, and what will attract investors, if we could all figure that out? Carmen Lago will moderate. She has been in the branded content space for more than 15 years, having worked at 3 of Canada's largest television networks and negotiated deals with major brands and US studios. She's co-founder and president of BCT Inc., Branded Content Media Company. BCT's focus is to bring brands and content together. But we kick off the panel again with a case study from the music industry this time. Dan Kurtz is bassist and producer for Dragonette. That's an electropop music band originally from Toronto. Dan, over to you. Do you have a mic on? You can stay where you are.
So hi, my name is Dan. I play in a band called Dragonette. I started this band in 2006 with my wife, Martina. We've skirted indie record deals, major label record deals. I would consider ourselves an indie band. Other than that, I played in another band called The New Deal that did a tremendous amount of touring over the last 15 years. And now I make pop music in my basement in Toronto. And I think I'm supposed to introduce this. Why I'm here is because we did a song for Target when they launched themselves in Canada. It was a redo of Mr. Rogers' theme song, Won't You Be My Neighbor? And this is us doing it.
It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you, oh would you be mine? It's a neighborly day in the beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you, oh would you be mine? I always wanted to have a neighbor that's just like you. Wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. I always wanted to have a neighbor that's just like you. Wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. If we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Or won't you be my neighbor? Or won't you please, won't you please? Please, won't you be my neighbor? Please, won't you be my neighbor?
Fun. So I wrote some notes so that I can try and get something useful for you guys out in 2.3 minutes. Over the years, my band Dragonette songs have been synced for TV, film, and commercial use over 100 times. In the climate of declining record sales and increased competition for concertgoers, the revenue for these syncs has made up a really big part of our overall income. Syncs have also contributed, I think, as much to building awareness of our brand as the radio play we've received in the US, with the exception of we had a really big hit song called Hello, which is an anomaly in the otherwise, the trajectory of my band's history. We're probably better known from our songs being in Vampire Diaries, Girls, The Hills, or Grey's Anatomy from any other media exposure we've had. In fact, we got a record deal in Germany because one of our songs appeared on a European Toyota ad. Just while I was sitting upstairs, one of my songs got licensed once again for Vampire Diaries. It's been a good day. So needless to say, a long time ago, we more than reconciled ourselves with the sellout angst that most bands go through. So much so that we went out and found somebody, a really great sync agency, to pitch our songs wherever possible. Beyond writing the songs for our albums, however, it's mostly been a passive exercise on our end, with us waiting for our sync agency to pitch songs we've already written and released. And for whatever use they might fit, we've denied 2 or 3 of them, including a Marlboro ad in the Philippines. So the Target campaign presented us with a more interesting creative challenge, where we had to interpret this theme song in the Dragonette style as per the brief from Target. On the plus side, the song had really nostalgic meaning for us, and the fee was over twice what a typical Canadian major label advance pays for an entire album. It took us 10 hours to do. It was a really good result. However, we risked being directly associated both with re-recording a sacrosanct song for some, the first ever in the life of the song, apparently, and with a big box retailer and all of the traditional criticisms that came along with that. As a result, at the same time satisfied our creative and financial mandates and put us more on the hook for having chosen to participate in this kind of campaign versus our other songs, which we'd already written, and they had more legitimacy because they'd been on an album and we'd written them for artistic measure and whatever. So Target's mandate was to use a Canadian band whose sound could present and reinforce their message, which they identified as happy to be here. We sound pretty happy in the song. They later told me that the song and our interpretation of it satisfied that goal. So Target's media buy was enormous, and the amount of exposure that the song got surpassed any kind of traditional TV exposure Dragonette could get as a band, even if I think one of our videos was #1 most played video on Much Music, and I think 25 people I know saw it. So, and the public's response to our participation wasn't all favorable. There was some really negative backlash because of the song being Mr. Rogers' song. But by and large, the exercise contributed to building our profile in Canada. And so the takeaway for us from this experience is that in many ways, these partnerships can fill the gaps left by the more traditional record deals and promotional campaigns that we have had, endured, enjoyed, not enjoyed so far. And for the positive, they can be a really big part of a band's revenue. On a promotional level, they offer exposure through channels that a band normally has no direct access to, and creatively, they challenge us in a new and, in this case, really fun way. On the negative side, bands have to wrestle with creative integrity and risk a negative public reaction, which we weathered, and which in turn can undermine the band's integrity and popularity. But in our case, this worked out really well. And I would definitely do it again. And I think we probably, from this experience, would learn that there would be ways to further benefit both sides, both Target and Dragonette, from that kind of partnership that started this way, whether it would be an exclusive song or an exclusive release with Target or whatever it may be. But anyway, there you go. Thanks very much.
Great.